You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
LG, welcome back. How you been, partner?
I've been good, man. How about yourself, man?
I've been doing well. Ready for football season. We're through 2 preseason games. We got the third one coming up this week. Patriots, Raiders. Speaking of the Raiders, I have a question for you here. Do you believe the Dana White story that came out this week that said he brokered a deal that would have delivered Brady and Gronk to the Raiders?
Man, Dana's a good friend of mine, and I take him for his word. I find it hard to believe he would lie about something that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's he wouldn't lie about anything like that. Definitely Gronk wouldn't lie about it. Especially now he's retired, he has no reason to lie about it. I believe that. I honestly believe that.
You're a UFC guy too. Have you met Dana before?
Oh yeah. I've met Dana. I've been to a bunch of fights. He's usually at most of them. And man, he's a cool guy. Even during COVID, when everything was shut down, he had a couple fights at Apex at the fight arena. And I was there and it was literally empty. So it was just like me, and my group, and then the camera people, and that was it.
Why do you think John Gruden would give a thumbs down to it? What is it? Do you think it's financial? Do you think he had something? It was something he felt that Brady wasn't ready to go. That he liked Derek Carr more. What do you think? Walk me through, if you're John Gruden, the train of thought that says no, I don't want Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski.
Well, I can't walk you through that because I would never think that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. Like, it has to 100% be a personal vendetta. Like, that's my personal opinion. Because if Brady is interested in going to your team, you make room financially. You have to. I am, like, being that I've experienced, like, being his teammate and like being the kind of person that he is, I'm definitely 100% making room for him financially, and then putting the pieces around him. I don't understand how you don't let that happen. And again, this is no knock against Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a really good quarterback, but along with a lot of people that's probably not Raiders fans, I'm taking Brady 100% at a time.
Now, we can presume, and a lot of people talked about this in the wake of the news coming out, that Tom Brady's appearance on the Shop, talking about you're going to stick with that MFer.
Yeah.
He was talking about Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Is that
now it all makes sense? It all makes sense. But I again, no knock against Derek Carr, but I can see how Brady would be insulted. Like, rightfully so, he's earned that right. So I can see why he would be insulted. And again, he probably, at the time being while he's talking about it, he probably ain't thinking. He ain't probably, you know what I'm saying? He on LeBron's show, so he keeping it real. So he's like, bro, really? You gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like. So he probably like, I know he probably like, dang, probably shouldn't have said it like that, but that's how he felt, and if this is 100% true, which I'm assuming probably in some degree it is, I would feel the same way if I was him.
So this week, like I said, we got the Patriots and the Raiders, and I was struck by something that you said last week, and I wanted to ask you about this, that going into the last preseason game, Bill likes to sit the regulars. The veterans, the guy, and you recall the situation where you, Tom, a bunch of other starters, you guys sat for the regular season finale, and Josh or whoever it was would get the backups, the third stringers, the fourth stringers, get those guys ready to go for the regular season finale. That was when there were 4 preseason games. Now there are 3. Do you think we're going to see the same situation this Friday when it comes to Patriots Raiders? Do you think we're going to see Bailey Zappi and a lot of the rookies, and Mac is going to sit, or how do you think things are going to play out?
I think you have to. I think you have to have that same approach. I think you just shift it up a little bit more. Where maybe the second game the starters play, half the game or whatever. Either even if it is the second game, you don't have that fourth game anymore. So that's still another game off of the body. I mean, even though it's added to the regular season, but I'm saying like that's another game that you don't want to have to risk it. So I think you take that same approach. I don't see how you approach it with the same aspect of if you're getting the starters ready to play the regular season, where you got to play them the whole first half and part of the third. Some people play part of the third quarter. I don't think it's that scenario. I think at this point they should know. I assume that they would know, that who they want out there and who's on the bubble.
One thing we know about practicing in Vegas this week, it's about 100 degrees. It's not an easy situation to go out and practice in 100-degree heat, but a lot of people are saying, hey, look, that's going to get them ready for week one. They're going down to South Beach. It's going to be 80, 90 degrees down on South Beach, and we all know about the history of the Patriots in Miami. What was it like preparing for those games in Miami? How did you guys try and get ready? Did you turn up the heat in the bubble? What were some of the things that you guys did to try and prepare for that Florida heat?
So that was actually one of the things that we did to prepare. We go in the bubble. I'm pretty sure they turn on full blast because coming outside, if you were to come outside in New England now, I don't know what's the temperature for you guys out there.
Probably about 60 degrees. 60 degrees. It's raining today, so it's a little overcast,
right.
not so good.
It's nice. It's pretty straight. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But they go in the bubble and they probably crank the heat up to 80 something. Whatever it goes to, whenever it says just high, they crank it up to that. and you in the bubble practicing in that. And and it's a struggle. It's tough. But it does get you acclimated to having to go down to that climate and play in that kind of environment. Even though you're not as in shape, or even though we're not as acclimated to it than as they are, it helps us out a lot. I mean, you still see guys hitting the oxygen tank and things like that, but you would see it a lot more often if we weren't in that bubble in that 85 degrees, whatever they turn it up to.
That kicks off the regular season in a couple of weeks. I want to get your level as we sit here in late August, your sense of this team. And from what you've seen so far, what you've seen also around the league, what's your level of expectation for the 2022 Patriots in terms of a final win-loss record right now and a possible playoff appearance? I think it's reasonable to expect this team to be an 11-win team.
Yes.
And win at least one playoff game. When you consider the level of development that this team has gone through, particularly with Mac Jones over the last year plus, 11 wins feels like a realistic goal for them.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100% right there. I would say at least 11 wins. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. They I think they're gonna always be pretty solid defensively.
Mm-hmm.
The only time that they ever have trouble with my experience, or since I've been watching them out from the outside, in the beginning of the season is when they usually have trouble. The first couple games, the first 2 or 3 games is when they usually have troubles, and then they pick it up. If they can avoid going through those little up and downs in the first few games, I don't even know if they'll lose 6. That defense is going to always be as solid as they come. And I think they're going to heavily lean on Ramondre and Damian, even more now since James is gone. So I think that's going to be huge. And when it comes to winning and losing, because then they can control the flow of the game and control the ball. Mac probably don't have to do it as much. So hopefully that's the expectations. But I think it's going to have at least 11 wins.
Whose defense is this now? And I ask that because for years and years, it was, Ty Law was the lead dog on the defense. Vince Wilfork, Dante Hightower. Is there a guy now that you would default to on that roster? Is it Devin McCourty? Is it Lawrence Guy? Is it Josh Uche? Is there a guy on that defense where you say, look, he's the leader of that defense right now?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think Devin McCourty's been the leader on that defense for what year is it for him?
Mm-hmm.
12?
12, yeah. He came in 2010.
Yeah. So I think he's been a leader on that defense since then. Since he went from being a rookie first round draft pick Pro Bowl corner to a Pro Bowl safety. I think he's been one of the most consistent, big playmaking players on that defense at all times. He's always reliable. He always knows what he's doing. He's always in the right place. He still has playmaking abilities, even at 34 years old, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
He's still an amazing athlete. He's still as fast as anybody that you can line him up with. So I mean, I think as long as you have him over there, you have a leader. Whether Hightower's there with him to lead as well, but Mayo's there to lead as well. Tyler, any of those guys that was there as leaders. While Devin has been there, he's been one of those consistent leaders the whole time.
I have a theory on Devin that he, when it's all said and done, is going to go down as one of Bill's favorite players. Maybe not one of his best players, but one of his favorite players, because to your point, he always seems to be in the right position. He always seems to say the right thing. He always seems to do the right thing. In the big moments, you never have to worry about a guy like Devin McCourty in the same way that you didn't have to worry about James White. And I think James White is going to go down as one of Bill's favorite players, but I think Devin McCourty really is going to be remembered as one of Bill's favorites.
Yeah, again, I don't know how I feel about that, because I think Devin McCourty probably is one of the best players to play that put on the Patriots uniform. Like, I don't know, besides Rodney maybe, I think Devin probably the best safety that New England has had. Like, and they've had good safeties. I know Rodney, I know some of those guys has been back there. But man, again, like I said, man, Dev, a ball hawk. He's probably not known as a big hitter, because he probably weighed about 165. He's a skinny guy. You're a little man. If you see this, you're still my dog, though. I lay you to death. But yeah, he's not a big hitter, but again, he's a playmaker. He's a ball hawk. He's, if you go back over the course of his career, just look at how many game-sealing plays he's made, in the end zone, or, maybe across the, whatever, game-sealing interceptions, or game-sealing breakup to where we can run the clock out, just plays like that. If you go over his career, I don't say he's had, I don't think it's a lot of guys that has had more than him on that defense. Yeah, he's definitely going to go down as one of Bill's favorite players, because you see Bill ain't letting him go nowhere. He's been a career-long Patriot.
No coincidence at all.
No coincidence.
Devin figures into this conversation. This next question I had for you, as far as I'm concerned. Which one of your former teammates would make the best coach? Now, I say coach at any level: high school coach, college coach, pro coach. I did this survey in the locker room a few years ago, and I got two answers, two guys more than anyone else. Brian Hoyer and Ted Karras were the two names that came up more often, but I would put Devin into that conversation as well. Is there another guy in that locker room? Is there another guy that you played with who you think should be a coach, should take that next step? Because and the other thing too, it's important to remember, it's not for everybody, because you got to put in a lot of hours. You got to do a lot of sacrifice. And when guys retire from the game, they want to step back a little bit. But for you, if there's a guy on that roster who you think would make a good coach,
like you said, at any level,
high school, college, pro, whatever.
I think a lot of the guys that I know would want to step away from the game a little bit. But if I had to choose one, I would probably say Dion Lewis. Dion is really, really smart. He still look at the game. He still watches. He still talk to me about it. I would say Dion is probably one of the guys that I say can probably coach at a. I don't know if he can handle the grown men. I don't know if he can be at the highest level, because he's still 5'7". he ain't that tall. So I feel like if he say something to somebody, and somebody say something back, he might get a little buck. So he probably can't do it at the highest level because he got that pride and that ego. But yeah, like as a high school, even a high school head coach, or even a college like position coach as far as running back, I think he'd be one of those guys that you can learn from because he picked it up so easily and so fast when he got to New England.
All right, going to shift gears here a little bit. I want to talk about a couple of different things that are really kind of big topics of conversation around the league. First of all, no Deshaun Watson, first 11 games of the Cleveland Browns season. We're going to kind of put the real world ramifications of what's going on there to the side, and we're just going to talk about the on-field impact here. What will the Browns' record be for the 11 games Deshaun Watson has to set?
Me personally, I think they'll probably win 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I just think solely alone off of Nick Chubb, they're gonna always have an opportunity to win the game. If he can run the ball well, then they're gonna have a chance because they got a good defense. They got a solid defense. And they got one of the top running backs in the league. So I think that probably 4-7. Somewhere in that realm. I mean, I don't know if he can shake them back from that because he's going to have to get into, the Florida game and things like that. But they'll probably win. I think they'll win 4-7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's tough because that quarterback position is so important.
Yeah,
it's the most important. You've seen the difference. You can go from Jameis Winston to Tom Brady. So it's a huge difference. And even leaving, and that's no knock against Jameis. I love Jameis. I think Jameis is a great quarterback, but
but he's not Brady. No one's Brady.
He's the opposite of Brady.
Yeah.
So but he can throw the ball far, he can throw for a lot of yards. But I think that quarterback position is vital. It's vital to a team's success. And you go from Deshaun Watson to Baker. And then Baker being gone to, Jacoby Brissett or whoever the kid was playing last night.
Dobbs, yeah.
Dobbs, you know what I'm saying? From the Steelers. The Steelers drafted him from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You go. Those are your 2 options. And yes, Jacoby's played, at a pretty good level, with the Colts, even with New England when he had to step up. But again, man, that ain't Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. I will say this about Jacoby, and I know your feelings for him, and I know having covered him for a stretch, he's dynamite when you need him to be a placeholder. When you need him to be able to get a team over. He was a guy, he did it in New England. He did it in Indianapolis after Andrew Luck. And so you're talking about a guy who's been through that type of situation before. And then, like you said, Dobbs can give you change up, and he's certainly played well over the course of the preseason. But you know what? I'll give him 5 wins. I'll go 5-6 because, like you said, they have that running game and they have that defense. I think they're going to win some games.
Yeah, pound and pound.
Yeah, they're going to ground it out. They're going to take the air out of the football. They're going to play slow, and they're just going to try and beat teams down a little bit. And so I do think, though, it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out for them down the road. The one rumor that I keep hearing, do you think the Browns are going to trade for Jimmy?
Oh, like I said, that quarterback situation is a little sticky. I think you put Jimmy over there. Now you're looking at that 6-7, win range.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be extremely smart to trade for Jimmy. I think they should. You get a solidified quarterback that has done it before, has taken the team to a Super Bowl. Has played obviously behind the best. You get somebody that he's familiar with in Jacoby Brissett, another guy, just in case he does go down, somebody that's familiar with each other, and they know how each other work, and they you don't have no animosity over there just because Jimmy getting traded over there with Jacoby. He's like, oh my God, I can't escape the shadow type thing. Like that happens, so it's a real thing, So I think it'd be great for them to do it. I think if they don't, then they set themselves up to be one of those teams that's going to be in trouble this year of having a lot of firings again.
One thing that I'm fascinated about, and we'll stay in that same division, AFC North. History tells us the teams that lose the Super Bowl, especially young teams that lose the Super Bowl, struggle the following year, whatever reason, health, personnel decisions, bad coaching, whatever the case may be. Do you think the Bengals are going to fall victim to the so-called curse of the Super Bowl loser?
I don't think so. I think they're a really good team. I think they're solid. For them to be such a young team, they know what it takes to get there because they got there. It wasn't basically solely off of just like them being a young, talented team. Like, these guys come from established programs, LSU, you know what I'm saying? I think Joe Mixon come from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these T. Higgins come from, I think, Virginia or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they come from established programs with coaches that instill them like that discipline, that drive, that work ethic and stuff in them. So I think that they're a solid squad, obviously with Burrow and chasing them. And I think they're a solid squad. I don't think they hit that second year, slump. I think they play pretty consistent. I'm not saying they're going to go back to the Super Bowl, but I'm saying they're going to have a consistent season. They're definitely going to have, a 10, 11, probably 12-win season.
The thing that concerns me, the biggest thing that concerns me right now about that team is the fact that Burrow was late getting on the field because of the appendectomy. And I heard this around New England an awful lot. Look, man, the train's leaving the station. You got to be on board. And if you're not on board, you got to catch up. And I don't know, granted, they had a fantastic year last year. He had a fantastic year last year, and he's a guy who's set up for success long-term. But that kind of made me pause a little bit when I'm thinking about the Bengals for 2022. It just, at the start of the season, they lose a couple out of the gate. They get behind a little bit. And what's going to be a really tough division this year, or should be a really tough division this year, it's going to be a challenge for them.
I mean, you look at it, you think, how do you feel about them playing the Steelers? Do you think they're going to come out on top?
They're better than the Steelers. They're better than the Steelers. They are. The Steelers, and we're going to get to some bold predictions later on.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, exactly. But you look at the rest of the AFC.
Yeah.
A lot of the AFC.
The AFC is tough in general. Yes. Yeah. The AFC is tough in general, but that division alone, I like them to get out of that. Like, again, they got an established quarterback where the Browns don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if they're going to have one. And if they do trade for Jimmy G, it's going to be late.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously the season about to kick off. Like, if they do get him, he's behind the ball a lot.
Yeah.
He's basically learning on the fly. So, now you're looking at the Steelers and the Browns. That's that. I'm assuming they might sweep both of them.
Mm-hmm. Should, yeah.
They should. That's 4 wins. In that division. And the third,
Baltimore.
I mean, Baltimore, the only team they're gonna have trouble with. With Lamar. But again, they lost Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So Dobbins coming off an injury.
I tell you though, Vegas loves Baltimore.
Yeah,
Vegas loves them right now. Vegas loves Baltimore. In the AFC, Vegas loves, in no particular order, it's Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City. Those are their 3 teams.
I could understand why.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand why, but I mean, you can't count out teams like the Bengals. You can't count that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just count them out, because I just gave you, multiple reasons why, like, dang, they might win the AFC North again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's they got a solid team.
Mm-hmm.
I could put them up there as well, because I could put them on the field with I'll put them on the field with Buffalo and like them to battle it out, and it'd be a game of who make the mistakes first or who make the most. Like, I don't think Buffalo gonna blow them out or nothing like that. Like, Cincinnati's a solid team.
Okay, let's put Cincinnati and Tennessee against each other, because they feel like they're in the same conversation. Are you, if you had to pick between Cincinnati and Tennessee right now, who are you going with? I'm giving Tennessee a little. I'm giving Tennessee a little, like a 3-point favorite. I'm making Tennessee like a 3.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
Okay.
I'm going with Cincinnati. Derrick Henry coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
They lost AJ Brown. They lost Julio, left and went to Tampa, and they didn't use him right, but watch he turn up with Brady. And Tannehill, your quarterback, I'm going with Cincinnati.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, this is my last question here, and this leads me into the one thing that we're going to hit on. We're going to hit on this. We're going to hit on this a couple of times between now and the start of the regular season. But give me one bold prediction for 2022. One prediction that's going to make people say, I don't know, but one thing. Go out on a limb here, and I'll start. I'll give you the first one. Your AFC champions, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm saying the Chargers are going to win the AFC this year.
You know what? I can't disagree with that, but I'm gonna say my bold prediction gonna be the Philadelphia Eagles out of the NFC.
All right.
They
give
got
me a reason why.
Brown,
You give me a reason
why.
why.
Brown, they got Jalen, they got Miles Sanders, they got Boston Scott. They got Devontae Smith. They got some real weapons over there. They got Goddard. It looks good. They got the defense back. Fletch, they all healthy. BG, I'm just saying.
You really enjoyed your time in Philadelphia, didn't you?
I did a lot.
That was good. I also think too, speaking of your time in Philadelphia, I think Doug Peterson's going to get things turned around in Jacksonville.
I do too.
That's the best hiring that they made in a long time.
Yeah, I think if they give him a chance, because I think the whole firing a coach, if you give the coach a team to rebuild with, and you give him like a fresh team and a fresh start, like these guys are first and second and third year players with Doug now. Like, so if you fire him after if you do like a little fire him after 2 years, and then they hire someone new, and then that team all of a sudden flourish, well, you just didn't give that guy enough time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I said that's why when with Flo in Miami, I'm like, he was changing it slowly but surely. Everyone's seeing the changes coming. Like, oh, okay, because I'm a Miami Dolphins fan at heart because I grew up in Florida. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But he started changing it, and that's you're like, dang. So now they got now they trying to add pieces, this, that, and the other. So I just think I hope that I hope my Miami Dolphins are good or end up being good and all that. But I mean that's just my personal take on it.
What makes Doug such a good coach? What makes him so good? What makes him the kind of guy who could take the Eagles to the Super Bowl?
He's very dedicated. He put in long hours. He can get along with any and every player on the team. I guess you would call it I guess he's player friendly, or very understandable. He always put family first. So if you ever have anything going on, like you don't feel like, I don't know, just certain places you feel like if you have something in your family going on, you feel like I can't tell them that this is going on. If I tell them, they're gonna feel like I put this over everything, and over here, football is first. So it's like, dang, do I, versus being comfortable enough with Doug to be like, hey man, this is going on in my family. I'm gonna have to go handle this situation. Yeah, like you can feel like you can approach him in that way and not feel like it's gonna hurt you in the back end when you get back or whatever. And again, he knows everyone's family by name. He's a very personable person. And I think that he can touch everyone in different ways. He can adapt his coaching, to the player or the type of player that he has to adapt it to. So I think, all those things makes him a great coach. He ended up with a special team that, bought into everything that he said and trusted everything that he said in the process leading towards it. And his coaching staff, he's really good at choosing those guys. So I just think that, that's the formula for success. It might not happen right away, but eventually it'll happen.
Plus, he's going to be better. He's got to be better than Urban Meyer.
Oh, you got it. Yeah.
A little bit.
That. I mean, man, threw a little sour taste in my mouth because Urban Meyer was a.
That's right. He was a Gator. He was. I still think there's a great book to be written about the Urban Meyer era in Gainesville.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories there.
There's a lot of stories there. I'm telling you, it isn't a coincidence that he doesn't just leave it behind. It definitely follows him wherever he goes. It ain't coincidental. You know, man, but I was an Urban Meyer fan to the heart, man, because he was just, you know, I'm a Florida Gator fan, so I went to Oregon, but I'm a Gator fan. So, you know, whenever you bring a national championship to someone's favorite team, you automatically like a legend, you know? So I was like, man, dang, man, I was hoping he'd succeed in Jacksonville too.
Speaking of t-shirts, you saw what I got on here. Make sure you pick this up at the Believe store. If you go to shop.believe.com, you're going to be able to pick this up. You'll be able to pick up the Return of the Mac t-shirt. You'll be able to pick up the Mac MJ10 t-shirt. They're all available. Represent your favorite Patriots podcast. Wear the gear. Take a picture. Let us know. Tag us in the picture. Let us know, and we'll retweet it. So that's it for this week, LG. We'll connect again next week. The start of the regular season. We'll get regular season football next week. We'll be able to talk Patriots, Dolphins before you know it. Good stuff. Take care, man. We'll talk soon.
Hey, let's see. Hey, let's get it doing. Let's get it going, man. I appreciate you guys. Hey, make sure y'all go watch my little 12U football team, Gilbert Gators. You know, we out here, man. I'm gonna represent the kids. Appreciate you, Chris, man. Thanks a lot, man. Always a pleasure. I'm excited about next week.